Welcome to the Golden State Media Concepts Beauty Tips Podcast, the show that gives you advice on everything from hair to fashion to skincare products. We'll talk about the latest trends in makeup, hairstyles, and anti-aging remedies. And we'll cover all of the newest fashion trends. If you have an interest in or questions about the beauty and fashion trends that might work best for you, the Golden State Media Concepts Beauty Tips Podcast has got you covered.
GSMC Beauty Tips Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I'm your host, Colleen, and let's just get into these beauty tips. So this episode, I want to talk about makeup. Now, I assume most of you guys don't know at this point, but I am a makeup artist for TV and film, and I've been noticing a lot lately. I've been noticing it for a good few years now, but a lot more lately of what people are watching on YouTube or Instagram or whatnot, and then doing the same thing in person and it not looking like it does. Now, it's kind of like Instagram versus reality. You see these people wearing these products that they're promoting, and these people on YouTube who are showing you how to do their makeup like that, but you're not realizing what it's going to look like in person. Now, I want to start with eyelashes. Now, fake eyelashes are a really big thing right now. They've always been kind of a thing, but they've been really popular as of late. And if you want to wear huge, big, ridiculous eyelashes, I mean, go for it. But when you're seeing these women and men, of course, on YouTube or Instagram, and they're showing off their looks, and they always put on a pair of lashes before they, put on their mascara or whatever, and they look great like that, but in person, you can tell that they're not real. My dentist wears fake eyelashes. She's great, don't get me wrong. She's a fantastic dentist. She's gorgeous. But she wears fake eyelashes, which is, I can see them. Like, they're obviously fake eyelashes, but also, on top of that, she's like up in your face with her magnifying glasses while working on your teeth, and I can see the glue on her eyelashes with those. But that's besides the point. Eyelashes are good if they're for an event. Let's say you're gonna go, clubbing. I don't go clubbing, but if you're gonna go out at night, or if you've got a wedding to go to, or if you're in a wedding, or some sort of big kind of thing like that. Now, I did my friend's wedding makeup, and I did her mother's makeup as well, and her mother really wanted fake eyelashes. So we did them, but instead of doing a full set of eyelashes, I trimmed them down to just the edges. So it gives that nice little extra fullness at the edges without being too much on the eye. Now, when you see people with fake eyelashes, you can tell they have fake eyelashes. When you see them in photos or on video, it's a little bit harder to tell, depending on what size. If they're wearing a drag lash, you can always tell. But depending on it, you can't tell when it's on this or that, because it's a lot nicer looking, and the camera really makes it look like your real eyelashes. But they are not. We can see them, and sometimes they are too much. Plus, a lot of people I've found are actually allergic to the eyelash glue that is provided with eyelashes usually, or you go out and buy. So really do your research when it comes to eyelash glue if you are going to put on eyelashes, and look at what the ingredients are, because it could be harmful to your eyes, and that's the last thing you want, is an infection in your eye. The other thing that I'm going to tell you to stay away from when it comes to eyelashes are magnetic magnetic eyelashes. Whether it's for a video or for a photo, do not use the magnetic lashes. They are so bad for your eyeball. First off, if you're using the ones that are two separate pieces and you put one under the eyelash and one on the top to magnetically connect them together, 8% of the time, they're gonna just clip the middle of your eyelash and it's gonna look really weird, because honestly, your natural body reaction when you're getting that close to underneath your eyelash line with something like that is gonna be to kind of flinch out a little bit, and it's not gonna work. Plus, having magnets that close to your eye is really not that safe. Also, there's the new, it's like an eyeliner that you put on, and then it's got some sort of magnetic something in it, and then you put the lash and it magnetizes to the eyeliner. Now, I don't know what's in that eyeliner, and I really think you should do your research, because I don't feel like it's eye safe, and I really feel like that could irritate people a lot. Now, let me tell you some tips of how to make your eyelashes look really good on an everyday basis without using any false lashes. So I do this when I wear mascara. I don't wear a lot of mascara. I was gifted with really long lashes, but if you weren't, mascara is a lifesaver. So do the mascara like you normally would. If you're looking for volume, go for a volumizing mascara. If you're looking for length, go for a lengthening mascara. But the best tip for everybody to do is get an extra wand. You can buy them at like Sally's Beauties, or even at most makeup stores in general. You can buy the little spoolies, kind of like a spoolie for your eyebrow, but it's the wand that's inside the tube. You can also use a spoolie for your eyebrow. I use that, like a spoolie that's meant for your eyebrow for your eyelashes. I do that a lot. So I put on the mascara, and while it is still sort of wet, you don't want it dry, run that spoolie through to separate all the lashes, and it'll really give you that, I've got more lashes than I got look. It'll really help, and it'll help to deter the clumping, when it comes to most mascaras will give you a lot of clumping. And I do this every time I wear mascara, or every time I'm doing somebody else's mascara, because it makes it look so much better. It really makes the lashes look so much bigger and so much fuller and a lot more like voluminous. I do have a recommendation for you. I have a recommendation of my favorite mascaras. See, my eyes are really sensitive to mascara. Every time I've tried a million mascaras in different price ranges, and it just makes my what do you call that? Not the lid, but lash line. That's the word I'm looking for. It makes my lash line really itchy. It doesn't really irritate it or anything. It's just real uncomfortable throughout the day. And so I use the Milk Makeup Kush mascara. There's two now, and I use both of them. There is the regular Kush mascara and the waterproof Kush mascara, and I love those so much. They give you a lot of volume, a little bit of length, and it's just fantastic. And I always brush through with that spoolie. So just remember to brush through with the spoolie, because it really will up your game. If you try this at home, I want you to tweet me at GSMC_beauty tips and show me and tell me what you think, or at least just tell me what you think of this hack. Have you ever used this before? Have you not? It's a tip that I really recommend people do, because it really helps take your look to the next level without needing false lashes, without feeling like you need these false lashes and they're really irritating. Now, if you really want to do false lashes, go for it, but I also would recommend individual lashes or half lashes. Individual lashes really let you control where you put the extra volume in your lashes, and half lashes will really kind of fan out the extra ones on the end, giving you a really nice, natural, fluttery look. Fluttery, I don't know if that's the right way to describe that, but it really will help elevate your look if you just use a half lash or individual lashes if you're really going for lashes. I know it can be tricky to put on lashes, and I really think just using the spoolie method can help you exponentially when it comes to wanting a little oomph in your routine and oomph in your makeup look. Now I've talked enough about eyelashes. We're going to go to a quick break. Ooh, word garble. And when I come back, hopefully my words will be back in my mouth, and we will talk about some more beauty tips that I have for you.
The GSMC Life and Happiness podcast takes you on a journey of exploration. We'll discuss tried and true methods alongside the latest trends of how to best live your life to its fullest and happiest. From psychology to meditation, science to self-help books, the GSMC Life and Happiness podcast will help you to discover what makes you happy and how you can live life being the best you possible. Download the GSMC Life and Happiness podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar.
Welcome back to the GSMC Beauty Tips podcast. Now, before the break, we talked about a way to elevate your eyelashes without needing false lashes. And also the fact that, sometimes it doesn't look as good as you might think it does in person. But of course, to each your own. Now, let's talk about base. This is something that I noticed a lot from influencers, beauty influencers on Instagram, and especially on YouTube. When you're watching a tutorial and they're putting on these full coverage foundations, it's too much. Now, the full coverage foundation with the full coverage concealer and the heaping of powder looks great in photos, looks great on camera. What you're not seeing when you watch these people or you see these photos is the lighting that they use. The lighting really helps with that skin smoothing effect, and I really can't stress this enough. It will not look the same in person as it does on camera. If you see a beauty influencer who just did their makeup like that and they come out from, their studio to see you, I don't know if you're close with them, they usually don't look exactly the same as they do on there. A lot of times beauty influencers will turn down the lights to show you the way a product looks, and that you can kind of see what it would look like in real life because the lighting really does matter. Now with a base, everybody's going for full coverage. You do not need a full coverage foundation. If you already have a full coverage foundation and you're realizing it's not really looking too great in real life, then I want you to use less. Use less and use a beauty blender because that'll help kind of soak up the extra product. And if you use less, starting from the center, working your way outwards, it will really still give you a good coverage without being too much. Because you can see it when it's too much and nobody wants to be a cake face. That's just it. If you're oily skin, sometimes you can get away a little bit more with a full coverage foundation because usually they are more tailored toward oily skins. But also you could use a powder foundation, and those look good too if you use a light sweeping of it. Not a whole huge, just slather it on my face, make me into a powdered goddess thing. So you can use the powder foundation if you've got oily skin. You can use a full coverage foundation, but tone it back. Tone it back. If you're looking to get a natural look, but you're still pretty oily, definitely go and ask and talk in your local beauty stores. In your local beauty stores because they can help you. But just be wary of the full coverage. The full coverage usually doesn't look as good as you think. I've done this before. I saw that full coverage is the way to go. Full coverage make these people look stunning. So I was like, okay, I'm going to buy a full coverage foundation and try it on, and I'm going to love it. And I didn't. I did not like the way it looked on my skin. I have really dry skin, and it just, I could see it all. It was just real cakey, real bad. And I was using the same amount that I saw people using, and that is not what you should do. I think that you need to, I cannot stress this enough. Thin, light layers. Start with a thin, light layer and slowly build. Slowly build upwards. Now, if you have dry skin, you should go more towards a dewy foundation. Dewy is in right now, so if you have oily skin, you can do this also. Just remember to put a silicone or some sort of pore filling minimizing primer and set. Don't forget to set either, because that will help you with the oils. Now, if you're dry, you can stay away from powders. I do. I will only use powder on occasion, and it's never under my face, only where, like, under my eyes. Just a little bit to kind of stop a creasing from happening, because sometimes I do get that with specific concealers. But also, go for anything that works for your skin type. So if you're oily, definitely go for stuff that is catered for your skin type. You want something that is catered for and to your skin type. Definitely keep note on that, because I've done that too. I've made mistakes about that and tried stuff that was meant for oily people and not for dry people, and I am dry. If you don't know your skin type, the best way to figure it out is, do you start to look a little greasy during the day? Is it a little bit or a lot? Does your skin feel dry and need a lot of moisture? That kind of thing. Now, going along with foundations, to use a lighter coverage is always good. Medium to full is good, but still light, thin layers. Light coverage is always good. Build it up. That's the best thing that I can tell you. But also, wear a primer. Now, primers aren't necessary, but they can really help the appearance of your makeup, like your face base, basically. So I am on the dry side, so I use a hydrating primer. A hydrating primer really helps whatever I'm putting on top of it still make my skin hydrated and not start to give it like these, I don't know, cakey looking, drying looking throughout the day. Now, if you're oily, like I had said previously, use a pore minimizing primer or something catered to oily skin, because it will help lock in that makeup and lock away those oils, and that'll help you a lot too with that. Now, concealer. Do not do the huge triangle thing. That's all over too. It's on Instagram, it's on everywhere. It's on YouTube. They do these huge triangles of concealer underneath. And a lot of times they use a concealer that's too light to be a highlight. If you're going for a highlighted effect under the eyes, use one that's maybe a shade or two lighter. Nothing lighter than a shade or two lighter than your foundation. And that will really help to give that brightening effect, but you don't need a lot of concealer. Just a little bit goes a long way. If you do that, you're just caking on more product over product over product, and it's not going to look good in real person. You are a real person in real life. Stay thin, small layers. If you're looking thin, light layers, ooh, I can't even say my own mantra, and I'm telling you to follow it. But keep, your thin, light layers when it comes to concealer as well, and it will really help. And remember, if you're trying to cover a blemish, you should do it underneath your foundation. You should do that underneath your foundation. If you do it on top, once again, you're just adding on. You can also put your concealer under your foundation, but you can do that one over as long as you're working in thin, light layers. If you're trying to conceal a pimple, use a color that is the same as your foundation or very close. If you use a lighter color, it'll highlight that and then it'll bring it out even more than it already is from being there. So really just be thin and light with it. Don't go full coverage because it's not going to look good in everyday life, but it will look great in photos, so go for it. Even for photos, I don't use that. I like to use thin, light layers, and that helps me to build it up to the way that I want it, and it still looks good, and you don't need that much on. Okay, so after saying that, I think we should take a little bit of a break, and I'll come back with some more tips for your everyday beauty routine.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Hello, and welcome back to the GSMC Beauty Tips Podcast. Now, before the break, we were talking about face base, the best base for real life. Basically, like kind of things that you could do to make your base better, which is thin, light layers. That I'm probably going to say throughout the entirety of this podcast. For real, it's something I can't stress enough. Now, on the subject of light, thin layers, let's go to contouring. So, contouring. Do you need it? Do I have to do it? Is it weird if I don't? Is it weird if I do? Let me answer. So, you don't have to. You don't have to contour. You don't. It's not weird if you do. It's not weird if you don't. It's fine. That's completely up to you. I contour on occasion because I like the little lift that it gives my face. Now, when you're seeing people online and you see that contour, you've got this noticeable stripe on the side of their face. That's not contouring. It's a little too much. Now, when I contour, I take a shade that is cool toned because I have very fair skin and I want a more cool toned brown than a warm tone because it will look like an orange mess on my face. Now, when it comes to contouring, I want you to understand where to contour. So I want you to touch your face and feel out where your cheekbones are. They kind of connect with the tragus of the ear, which is a little triangle bit, a little bit. If you just feel, you want to contour around there with your cheekbones, where you feel your cheekbone. You can also raise it or lower it depending on the look that you're going for, but that's normally what I do. Now, I go about 2.5, maybe 3 inches when I'm doing this. And I blend in a circular motion, not just up or not just down. If I'm blending it just down, I'm going to look like a corpse. That's what I do if I'm doing a makeup that I want somebody to look like a corpse. But blending it in circular motions kind of gets it just right. And you don't want to take it all the way down. You don't want to take it as very far down. You only want to take it a little bit down to give that definition. that'll lift your cheekbones a little bit higher and give you a little bit more shape to your face. Now you can also contour. Bleh. What is that? Hello? My words have not returned. But you always want to contour there, and you also want to can contour. You don't want to. You don't have to. You can contour around the upper area of your forehead and your jawline. I don't like to contour jawline unless I'm trying to make somebody look like they've got a very, very defined jawline. Because if I feel like when I do it, I look like I've got a beard. That's just me though. If you need to go with a really light hand, if you are going to contour there, and you don't want to leave a line because then it does look like a beard. It looks like you got a chin strap going on, and it's not pretty. And you also want to contour probably a little bit farther back as well, and you don't want to take it all the way to your chin. I mean, a lot of people do, but I just find that looks the most unnatural when it comes to this kind of stuff. So definitely keep it in those areas. You want those areas, these areas that you're contouring, to sink in, because you want a different shape. Like I said, you can move it a little higher or a little lower depending on what you're looking for, but I usually go with my natural shape and add a little definition. Now, when I'm talking contour, I'm going more cool tone. I'm not talking bronzer. I'm not trying to warm up the skin with this. I'm just trying to make a definition. So when you're doing that, remember, you're making a shadow, not a highlight. And you don't have to do it. I think it adds a little oomph when it comes to this and that, but you don't have to do it. You can just leave it and you're still beautiful and your natural contours will show. But this just helps. Now, I bet everybody's seen Kim Kardashian's contour routine, where it's all this cream contour and it's everywhere, and then it's become viral, and there's just heavy cream contour, and then you blend it all together with the same sponge with the highlight and the contour, and this is not how you do it. Now, you can use a cream contour. Just go very light-handed, and once again, small, thin layers. Small, thin layers. It will help you. I promise. And that's also going to help you to build up. You can always build up, but you can't really take away. I mean, you can take it away, you can take it all off and start over again, but it's harder to take away what you've done than to keep building to get to a point that you want. So start with small, thin layers and build up to what you are looking for. And practice. Practice always makes perfect. Just if you got some free time, practice a little contour, and that's okay. Now with the cream contour, like I was saying, you can use cream contour, just be light, and do it underneath your makeup. You can do it above your makeup, but underneath your makeup will make it look a lot more natural. Underneath your foundation will make it look a lot more natural. And that's what we're talking about. Something that's going to look better in person than it does online. Now, those harsh, deep ones do look good online on photos and videos, but you look like you have a brown streak on the side of your face. I cannot stress this enough. You look like you got a brown streak on the side of your face. And it's not flattering is what it is. It's not flattering. Build up to a point that is flattering. Don't start heavy. And if you're a beginner, I would recommend a powder contour over a cream contour. And then once you get a little more familiar with that and you feel a little adventurous, then you can take that cream contour and try it out. And I really think that contouring makes a little bit of a difference, but do not go heavy-handed. Do not put a brown streak on your face. I can't stress that enough. Light, thin layers, small, thin layers, thin layers. And it's always going to help if you start small and you add up. Now, these people on the internet are not trying to steer you in the wrong path, because what they're doing does look good, and there are a lot of helpful tips. I just think that you should not copy verbatim what they're doing, because sometimes it is way too much. Now, I am going to take a break before I get way overzealous with the light thin layers, and we will come back, and I think I want to talk about some highlighting in contrast to contouring. It's funny. Okay. I will check back with you in a minute.
Do you want to be healthier, yet you just don't know what to do? All these shows telling you this and that, but nothing seems to work. Well, listen close. Golden State Media Concepts has got something great for you. The Health and Wellness Podcast dedicated to workout trends, healthy eating habits, diet, and everything about healthy living. Join us in our banters as we help you not just live life to the fullest, but live it to the healthiest.
Hello, and welcome back to the GSMC Beauty Tips Podcast. Now, before the break, we were talking about contour. What to do, what not to do, that kind of thing. It's something that's going to make you look a little more enhanced without being a brown streak on your face. Now, with contouring goes highlighting. They go together like peanut butter and jelly, Oreos and milk, I can't think of another one right now. But, so they go hand in hand because with contouring, you are trying to make a shadow on your face. With highlighting, you are trying to bring out those features instead of push them inwards. So the number one place to highlight is the cheekbones. I love highlighter, don't get me wrong. I love dewy skin. I love a dewy skin. It's really in. It makes you look so youthful and so awake and there and stunning. And so I really think highlighter is a game changer. But one thing that is a problem is these influencers are really, really obsessed with highlighter. Like, obsessed with highlighter. And I get it. It's gorgeous. It's stunning. You turn your head and you've got this beautiful highlighted cheekbone. And the problem I have is it may look good when you've got your head tilted and you're taking the photo and it's stunning in the photo and maybe you enhance it a little bit, which, fun fact, is what a lot of Instagram influencers do. They enhance their highlight, just so you know, but don't go overboard. See, they go overboard and they also enhance, like I said, but if you go overboard in real life, it's gonna look like you've got this weird glitter streak on the side of your face. And that's not a good look. It's not. So I recommend going with something that is a little lighter, or at least go a little lighter handed. Like, that's really what it is go lighter handed. And also test out the products that you're going to use. Like, go to the store or look online and see what you're getting out of it, because sometimes it's a lot more than you think it is. A good example of this is the, it's a highlighter from Rihanna's Fenty Beauty line, and I think it's the Diamond Bomb is what it's called, and it looks stunning in videos and photos, and they turn and their cheeks just look dewy, like wet and glistening and gorgeous, but it's basically, I went and looked at it because I was very curious. I was like, what is making their skin look so good on these cameras? And it is basically just glitter. So if you put it on in real life, you basically just have glitter on your cheekbones and it looks like glitter on your cheekbones. But when the light reflects off of it when you're taking a photo or you're under hot studio lights or something like that, then it gives you this glistening wet effect. So be wary of what you're using. I like to use cream highlighters because I feel like they give that effect without having too much glitter. I use a MAC highlighter. It's one of my favorites. It's a creamy consistency, excuse me. Not like jelly, but creamy. There are gel highlighters, and I heard those are cool, but I've never tried one. If you've tried one, tweet me, because I'm very curious. But I just think that something cream is really good for dry skin, mostly. Oily skin can use it too, but for dry skin mostly, this works better because a lot of times they do have oils in them, and it's not going to help you if you're oily, but it will help you if you're dry. So I prefer cream because I feel like it looks a lot more natural than a powder, but I do love my powder highlights. And you need to go light-handed, and you need to blend. Those fan brushes don't work very well when it comes to highlighting because it'll leave that streak on your face and you can't really blend out the edges. So I definitely recommend to use a different brush, a sort of fluffier brush to do that. And the places you want to highlight, just like I said for the contour, is under the cheekbone, at the cheekbone, but to highlight, you want to go on top of the cheekbone. But also with this, don't bring it too far down. That's something really important, is to not bring it too far down, because you can see it head on and it's not supposed to look that way. Speaking of looking that way head on, pick your color wisely, because a lot of times it might be too dark for you if you are on the paler side. I am pretty pale, and so when it comes to finding a highlight that works for me, I go very light. But sometimes you gotta be wary because it can leave a gray cast when you're looking forward, because there is such thing as being too light. This happens a lot on the deeper skin tones with highlighters. There are a lot of very stunning highlighters out there for deeper skin tones, but they can be too light, and when they are too light, they do look like they've got a weird gray cast. It leaves a weird gray cast on your cheekbones or wherever else you're going to put it. That's what it does. And so look for something that is going to work with your skin tone, because it does really make sense. I've had some highlighters that do look gray on me as well, even though I am very pale. So just be wary of what you're looking at. And too dark also leaves a weird shadow on your cheekbones, which is the complete opposite of what you're trying to achieve with highlighting. Honestly, it's so much better if you just go into a store, if you have a chance, and kind of play around with what you see. Or if you see somebody online that has a skin tone that's very similar to you, or maybe even uses the same foundation shade, that can help you too. You can find some things that might really work for you. Now, other places you can highlight are the nose. I don't highlight the tip of your nose when you're not under these beautiful beauty lights and stuff like that, because it looks ridiculous. You look like you're the Tin Man a little bit. Just a little bit. So if you're going to highlight your nose, be wary of where you highlight, and also just very light-handed, because too much highlight on the nose is just going to draw attention straight to your schnoz. Now, when it comes to highlighting the nose, I highlight my bridge because my bridge dips down and I want it to be a little more prominent. I don't really contour my nose because I find it a little difficult to do on myself. I can do it on other people, but myself, I just feel like it's a little difficult, and you don't need to. Do you need to highlight? You don't need to highlight either, but it really does kind of sell the whole thing if you're going to contour. I sometimes will just wear highlight, no contour, no foundation, no nothing, and it just kind of helps bring this healthy glow to your skin. And I really love the way that looks. I love a healthy, youthful, young looking skin. So highlighting really helps in that aspect. I also like to highlight a little bit on my on my forehead, right above my eyebrows, just to kind of bring that forward a little bit. And a lot of people also highlight under the brow bone, like on the eyebrow bone. And I think that looks really pretty and can tie an eye look together, but I prefer not to do it because I just don't like an frosty looking brow bone, but that's completely up to you. Once again, this is all completely up to you. It doesn't matter how you wear highlight, when you wear highlight, why you wear highlight. Just do it if you want it. It's the same with the contour. It's not a necessary step, but it is something that you can do to enhance the natural look. And it looks beautiful. It really does. I love highlight. It looks gorgeous, but I really think that you don't have to wear it. You don't have to wear it, but it is a fun thing. And the best way to do it is, once again, some small thin layers, light thin layers, just a little bit at a time, slowly building up, because you don't want that big streak on your face. Let's take another quick break, and when I come back, let's talk about some more beauty tips.
Want to find out what movies to go see? Then check out the GSMC Movie Podcast. It's your ticket to the latest movies, whether it's a new blockbuster event, romantic, comedy, or action flick. This show has got it all covered. They talk some what to go see now, don't bother, what's hot on Netflix, and everything in between. That's gsmcpodcast.com/movie-podcast. When it's all about the movies, it has to be this new show. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit gsmcpodcast.com for more info.
Welcome back to the GSMC Beauty Tips Podcast. Now, before the break, we were talking about highlighter. We talked about using less highlighter to still achieve a beautiful highlighted look and not going overboard so you don't get a weird streak on your face, because that's the last thing that you want. Now, let's talk eyebrows real quick. I don't want to spend too much time on eyebrows, since eyebrows are very different for each and every individual. Now, I think the best thing to do when it comes to your eyebrows is to always brush them out beforehand, before you put any sort of product in it. Use a product that you're most familiar with, or something that will work the best for you, which could be a pencil. Pencils are very popular because they're very easy to use and easy to achieve a good brow look. And you could also use a pomade, which I actually would tell you to steer clear of. A pomade can really make your eyebrows look kind of crispy and like they've just been drawn on. And it's not a good look. But we'll get back to that in just a second. Let's talk about colored eyebrow gel. Colored eyebrow gel is probably one of the best things, especially for beginners. I use a colored eyebrow gel all the time. I used to use a pencil, but I love this stuff so much more. This really helps to kind of be a quick on-the-go thing. You just put it through your brows, and then you're done with it. The thing that I like the most is it keeps your eyebrows in that same shape after you've done it, and it adds a little bit of extra oomph, a little bit of extra color, and sometimes it's easier to make fake-looking or real-looking fake hairs with a spoolie that's on the end of them than to just draw them on. Now, I've done the thing where I've used a powder and a eyebrow gel, and I really think that helps to kind of give you a little bit of extra oomph. But if you don't want to do that many steps, if you don't want to do a pencil, or you don't want to do a pencil and a this and a that and a that, then I would just stick to the eyebrow gel itself. Now, I like the colored one. I've recommended it to my mom, and now that's all she uses for her eyebrows are colored eyebrow gels, because they're easy for her to put on right before work and then just go. And it still looks fabulous. No matter, what occasion, it still looks really good. Now, I want to take it back to the pomades. Now, I see a lot of women who have eyebrows that really look like they were just stuck to her face. Like you took a sticker and you put it on their face. Now, some people don't have a lot of eyebrow, and I really think you should just work around the eyebrow you have to give you a more natural eyebrow looking eyebrow. So you could use flicking motions with a brow gel. You could use that with a little bit with a pomade, but I feel like pomades just look like a kind of like a marker when they're on. But you could also use a little bit of powder or a pencil to really give you an extra little hairs in there without looking too drawn on. I see a lot of people who don't do this, and a lot of people who do the very square fronted, sometimes fade into really dark eyebrow, and that is just too much. That's too much eyebrow. Go for a natural look, especially because that's in right now. If you've ever seen Cara Delevingne, I'm not sure how you pronounce her name. She has the best eyebrows out of anybody I've ever seen. They are stunning. Go look her up for real. She's got the prettiest eyebrows. She just has a lot of eyebrow, and when they do her makeup for runway, because she is a model, they really don't do much to her eyebrows. They basically just run a little bit of brow gel through, maybe a little pencil, and a clear brow gel, which can really help to lock everything in. And she still looks stunning, and they still look like her eyebrows, just a little bit better. And that's kind of what you're looking for when you're looking for eyebrows. You just want your eyebrows, but a little bit better. You don't want a sticker, you don't want a stamp, you don't want a marker drawn on eyebrow. It's just gonna look weird. Now, a lot of the beauty influencers, excuse me, a lot of the beauty influencers do these stick 'em on eyebrows. They do these huge, blocky, big eyebrows, and they don't look real, and they definitely don't look real in person. And I really want you to steer clear of that. I want you to play around and do what you think is going to be best for your own eyebrows. Now, what I particularly do is I brush my eyebrows up, I put the gel in my eyebrow, the tinted eyebrow gel in. I will sometimes, before that, I will fill in with a little bit of powder if I feel like I'm missing some areas and I need a little bit more fullness. But most of the time, I just go in with the tinted eyebrow gel. Then I take a clean spoolie, and I brush that out. It's the same one I use to brush up my eyebrows. I brush that out a little bit to kind of disperse the color and make it look a little fuller and get it into the shape that I want. Then I'll set it with a clear brow gel. If you're using a tinted brow gel, you really don't need to set it, but I definitely recommend using a clean spoolie to get in there and brush your hairs up a bit before, and to get in there and brush your hairs up after. Now, this is just kind of what I find works the best for me, and when I'm working on other people, I feel that's the best method, and it's the one that I feel looks the most natural and not so blocky and a little too much. Really, your eyebrows are your eyebrows. They're never going to match. They're sisters. They're not twins. And that's okay. That's okay if you have irregular eyebrows. You also don't have to do your eyebrows. Most days I don't do my eyebrows. Sometimes all I'll do is my eyebrows. And I really think that it can make a difference, but I don't think you need it. If you're a beginner with eyebrows and you really want to try something, but you're too scared to try an actual color in your eyebrows, then I would suggest two different things. The first one would be to try just a clear brow gel. Nothing else, just a clear brow gel, kind of move it into the place you like, and then maybe you can venture out into more colored products for your eyebrows. And if this doesn't sound right for you and you don't own a brow gel, I bet you own soap. Soap brows are very popular, and I know why. Because they look good. It's weird that they look so good, but they just do. So you need to take a clear soap, a soap that dries clear, and probably is clear, and usually a bar soap works the best. Use a bar soap. You take a clean spoolie and you roll it around in the soap. You got to put a little water on the soap, of course. And then you run that through your eyebrows, and it really helps to lock in your eyebrows, but also it helps give a natural full look. So I definitely recommend that one as well if you're just starting out. You can start out with that just like the other one, and then slowly venture into things that you think are going to be better for you, but you don't need to do your eyebrows if you don't want to. I know a lot of people who don't, and a lot of men who don't because they have great eyebrows, and I'm forever jealous. But I really think that to each their own when it comes to eyebrows. That one is a little more on the lenient side than these other ones, but I do want you to be wary of too much eyebrow. I'll give you a fun little fact. About a year or so ago, my husband and I were joking around, and he had a nose trimmer that was also an eyebrow trimmer, and I was using it to just get the little hairs around my eyebrow, nothing like in my eyebrow. And he goes, no, you gotta like run it through your eyebrow. I said, no. And then he did it, and he looks at me with this face, and I went into the bathroom, and I was missing half of one of my eyebrows. And that's actually when I started doing my eyebrows myself, is when I had no half of an eyebrow. This was not even that long ago. Like, I've done eyebrows on other people and stuff. I never liked it on myself. And then once I had half my eyebrow accidentally shaved off, I needed to do something about it. And that's when I started to do it for myself. And I realized that I really could do things to elevate my look with just doing my eyebrows a little bit different than they normally are. So be adventurous, play around, try again. I'm going to take a break, and I will be right back with more beauty tips.
The Golden State Media Concepts Travel Podcast, the show that gives you advice on everything travel. We explore places you've always wanted to go, as well as giving tips for traveling in those places. We'll give you advice on the best sites for travel tips, information, and discounts. Join us as we travel the world, explore cultures, and meet new people. The Golden State Media Concepts Travel Podcast has got you covered. Download the GSMC Travel Podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar.
Welcome back to the GSMC Beauty Tips Podcast. Now, before the break, we talked about eyebrows and a good way to do your eyebrows for beginners, but also what to kind of avoid so you don't look like you've got a stamp on your face. So, now I want to move on to lips. This one I want to change up a little bit because lips are kind of hard to mess up, and that you could do whatever you want with your lips. There's not a lot of things that are one way or the other. But I want to talk about something that I noticed happening, and my mother noticed as well because she is a pediatrician, so she's a doctor. And this happened to me, and I actually want to know if this happened to you guys too, so tweet us at GSMC_beauty tips. Let me know. So, a year or so ago, maybe 2 years ago, I was using one of those EOS lip balms, the ones that look like a little egg. And I liked those, and I've used lip balm my entire life. And suddenly my lips are breaking out constantly. Just in these like blisters and nastiness. I noticed that there was a woman who was, she was suing the company because hers were like insane. There are pictures, and if you are not squeamish, go look it up because it's disgusting. But that had happened. I was like, maybe that's the reason that my lips started breaking out in blisters. Oh, like maybe that's it, so I'll just stop using it, use different chapstick. But no, it became every single time that I wear chapstick. And apparently I'm not the only one. My mother told me about a few other people and kids that she'd heard of that have the same thing. Not just women, but men as well. And so I started getting really confused. I've tried a million different chapsticks at this point, all organic, all this, all that, just trying to get something that's not going to make my lips break out. So I was trying everything, every natural this, natural that, nothing was working. I ended up finding a Hempz, Hempz, I think is how they spell it, at Ulta, and it's like a hemp-infused lip balm, but it's a squeezy tube. And that one worked for me. Then me and my mom started talking and thinking about it, and we realized that it's not the chapstick itself, but it's the whatever agent is in the stick chapsticks that make it hard. Because I don't know, I can use Vaseline and I can use Aquifer and stuff like that, but I can't use like the Aquifer brand chapstick because of whatever's in there that's hardening it. I don't know if it's beeswax or not, but that's weird to me. I'm not 100% sure what it is, but every time I use a chapstick, my lips are just like breaking out. And so I tend to stick to just like petroleum jelly, but that Hemp's one did work for me because it was in a squeezy tube. And I'm not the only one. My mom has had a few patients that are having the same issues, and everyone's kind of starting to wonder, is it just something that you become allergic to over the time? I don't know. It's weird too because I can wear lipsticks. I have zero issue with lipsticks. Even the like bullet lipsticks, I don't have any issues. It doesn't break me out. It doesn't anything. So it's got to be something that is specific to chapstick that is doing this to me, and not only me, other people. I do find it weird that it did start with the EOS lip balm, because a lot of people were saying that those have those were causing them these like blisters, these nasty blisters. So just as a fair warning, kind of stay away from those EOS lip balms. I mean, they're really enticing and they're really cute, but I would stray from them because I don't know if that was the catalyst, the cause of all of this, or if it was just the just whatever's in it itself and I was suddenly becoming allergic to it. But and it's terrible because it's like cold sores, but it's not cold sores. It's real weird. But I just think that you should be wary when you're going to get chapstick and you're going for an EOS lip balm. Just because this has not just happened to me, this has happened to a bunch of different people, and I don't want to see it happen to anybody else. I don't know what it is. I've looked at ingredients, I just don't know what it is. Because whatever it is, it's not in lipsticks, and I can wear those fine, and I love a good lipstick. So, I don't know. Let me know if this has happened to you, if any of you guys have experienced this, or can't use chapstick because your lips become sores or whatnot. Like, let me know, because I am very curious how many people this has been happening to. Also, let me know if you ever use those EOS lip balms, and if it's done anything to you or not. I mean, my sister uses them, and they're no issue for her, but they're an issue for me. So, I don't know. Let me know what you think about that, and I just want to give you some really quick lip tips. Lip tips. Ooh, that is a tongue twister. Try and say that one 5 times fast. Okay, so first tip, I've said this in the last one and I will say it again a million times. A red lip looks good on everybody. You just gotta try it. And find a shade that works the best with your skin tone. Reds look the best on everybody. Also, every nude is not the same on everybody. It always comes down to your skin tone, but you can wear whatever lip color you like. I challenge you to be adventurous and show off your cool lip colors because they are so much fun. Also, there's no wrong or right way to do it. It's just lipstick. You can wear whatever, but it's helpful if you kind of match it to your eye look. Not the exact same color. I mean, you can do the exact same color, but if you're going for a deep smoky eye, then go light on the lips. But if you're going for a light, feathery look, you can go pretty dark on the lips to make a statement. Your lips can always make a statement. I said this in the last one and I will say it again. It's a good statement piece for wherever you're at. Whether you're at work, whether you're at home, whether you're going out with the girls, any of that, you can use lipstick as a statement piece. Shoes also work as a statement piece too. I love shoes. I want to say thank you guys, like for real, thank you for hanging out with me and listening to my rambles about the differences between the screen and in real life. You know what? I'm going to give you one last tip. If you think your makeup looks great on the inside, go check that mirror in your car, because that is the mirror of truth and it will tell you what you truly look like. That's my last tip. Use the mirror of truth, the car mirror. It will tell you. But seriously, thank you for sitting here through my ramblings. Thank you for listening to the GSMC Beauty Tips podcast, and I will see you on the next one. Stay safe. Stay stunning, because I know you are, and follow us on all social media sites. You can follow us on Twitter, on Instagram. We're getting a new Instagram, so you can follow us there as well. And you can also follow us on Facebook, and that is at GSMC_beauty tips. And I will see you there, and I will see you later. Bye.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Beauty Tips Podcast, part of the GSMC Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type in GSMC to find all of our shows from the GSMC Podcast Network, from health and wellness to entertainment and life and happiness to sex and relationships. You can also follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's episode of the Golden State Media Concepts Beauty Tips Podcast.